Hey guys, Kev here, and I want to talk about things you can do as a lefty to make your life easier in the knife world. It can be tough when you're trying to operate a knife, carry a knife, or whatever, and you're left-handed and everything's right-handed, right? Now, I've adapted, right? So the channel name is LeftyEDC. We all know that. But I carry a lot of right-handed knives. I use a lot of right-handed knives. I enjoy a lot of right-handed knives. Do I like lefty knives? Yeah. I have some? Yeah. But for the most part, the knives I truly like designs, aesthetics, ergos, all that stuff, are right-handed. So either it's don't get them and either not have many knives, or have knives I'm not like in love with, but at least they're lefty, right? And those options just don't work for me. So I'm fine adapting to a right-handed knife. I am very good with my right hand at opening and closing knives, not anything else. Still kind of like, a stranger if I use my right hand, but with knives, I'm pretty good at it. So I just kind of wanted to go over stuff I do. The number one thing that I would recommend to a lefty, if you haven't thought of it, is how to carry a right-handed knife. And I think that's the breaking point for a lot of lefties, right? You're like, oh, it doesn't have a reversible clip. Fuck that. I'm out, right? Like, I'm not buying it. And that's how I was for the longest time, until I forget who, I think it was my buddy Jake, Bearded Gear. He would tell me that he carries a backup knife. So he carries a secondary knife in his back left pocket, right? Because your back left pocket would be where you would put a right-handed knife so that the blade is facing against the seam. That's the key with a knife, right? You want it in the pocket where the blade is against the seam. So this knife right here, this is the Riot XOM. I love this knife. This is, very ambidextrous, but it has a clip only on the right side. So if you were to slide this into your pocket, right, you want this side, the side where the blade is, to be against the seam of your pants, the outside of your pants. So front right pocket, boom, right? Or back left pocket, and that is going to be against the outside. So when I heard that, when it, he told me that a few times, I'd see him kind of do that in videos or whatever, and something like a light bulb went off in my head, and I was like, oh shit, I'm left-handed, all right? And I hate right-hand only knives because I can't carry them in my front left pocket. If you guys remember the burger incident of 2021 where I had a Trevor burger in my front left pocket, it was a right-handed knife, and I put my hand in, it was open, and I stabbed myself right between the webbing. Well, after that, I refused to ever carry a right-handed knife, a knife in my front left pocket that wasn't a left-hand clip. So, I started carrying right-hand knives in my back left pocket. So this is where I carry a right-handed knife. So almost every day now, I have a knife in that pocket. It's perfect. It really is. I suggest you try it. I know a lot of people tell me, well, then I'm going to hit stuff on the way out of the car. I've never done that. I've hit more stuff with the clips in my front pockets than I ever have in my back left pocket. So I don't know where that comes from, but hang on, guys. All right, sorry, I was getting my grocery loaded in. So back left pocket, super important. I've never hit it on anything, or I don't know, I've never had issues. I love it. It actually changed everything for me because it freed up my front pockets. If I didn't want to carry two knives, if I do have a left-handed knife, it goes in the front pocket, right? I also recommend the style of pants that I wear. It's called the Off the Grid Surplus. They make the best pants and shorts, and they all have these extra big sort of side pockets. They're meant for like rifle magazines, but they're perfect for cell phones and knives. So that's the only type of pants I have anymore. I made sure I cleared everything out, and that's all I wear, so I always have those extra pockets, and it's fucking awesome. Shout out to Dog One. He loves my phone pants. So that's one move right there. And then I would say that, you know, learning how to flip a knife lefty is very important, and close a knife. Let me grab a knife here that I have. I happen to have a LeftyEDC Lander. This is the Urban EDC exclusive. This one has contoured green G10 scales and M390 steel. Yes, sir, M390. These are dropping or have already dropped. So they're dropping on like the 22nd. I don't know when this video is going to go up. So if they've already dropped, go get you one if you're interested. They're going to be $149, M390 and G10, but you also get an extra set of G10 scales that have the wave pattern on them. They're flat, not contoured, but you get the wave pattern. And then I think you get some other like goodies in there. You know how NAFS does. So anyway, as a lefty, you know, like I said, I've adapted to where I can use my right hand with a knife pretty much effortlessly, as good as any knife I can use left-handed. I can't use the knife very well, like cut with it, but I can flip it, you know what I mean? I can fidget with it. So that's the difference. I want to make that clear. So if I'm cutting, always with my left hand, right? If I'm at the gas station, always with my left hand. But fidgeting, no problem at all. Right-handed, love it. So actually, sometimes I'm better. Like a front flipper, I'm better at the rollback right-handed because I can angle it right, and just left-handed, I struggle. I always like want to kick it into my palm. But anyway, here's some tricks you can use closing the knife. So first, the most obvious is you just put your thumb in, kick the lock over, pull the blade down with your index finger. You're controlling the blade with your index finger. It's not going to come down and cut me because I'm controlling it with my index finger. So I'm doing this, and then I'm getting my thumb out of the way, turning the knife and shaking it down. So I'm not in the path of the blade when it's actually closing, right? Yeah, sure, it's closing right now, technically, and my hand is in the path, but I'm controlling that. So that to me is not an issue. But one thing you can do is this trick. Shout out to Brandon Ziegler, he taught me this. What you do is you hold the knife like this. This is a right-handed knife. You use your index finger like this against the lock. Yes, your index finger is in the path, and is your hand, but it's just like being right-handed. You just go like this. It disengages. You can either click it until it drops or until, you know, it catches on the detent. Make sure you know your knife. If it's something that's going to guillotine down, make sure your index finger doesn't get hit with it. But you can close it like this, right? Then you move out of the way and shake it down. I mean, it's essentially the same thing as this, except you're kind of wrapping your hand around and doing this. But it works really well. Honestly, once you get the hang of it, it feels really weird at first. Like, it's going to feel kind of odd. Let me clean this lock face because it feels like it's got gunk all up on it. It's sticking on me. There it is. It's gone. So it feels really weird at first. Like, I remember when Brandon first showed me, I tried it and I was like, dude, how the hell do you do that? Now it's like second nature to do that. So that's the best trick, I think, as a lefty with a right-handed knife to make it feel more natural, is to do this. You're using your left hand, disengaging everything. Works just like a right-handed knife, right? You know how righties do the claw like this? Kick it back like that? It's kind of the same thing. You're just doing it kind of backwards, right? So that's definitely something to note. I'm trying to think of anything else. Reverse flicking, left-handed. So let's pretend this was a frame lock. I don't have anything with a frame lock in the car. I don't think, do I? I don't think so. So what you do is, because a lot of people worry, as well as myself, what if there's a frame lock and I put my thumb right on the lock bar and now I can't flick it, right? Because I tied it up. You put pressure down. Well, there's two things you can do to avoid that. Well, really there's multiple, but the first one is ride the pivot. So you put your thumb, left thumb, on the pivot. That way you're definitely not on the lock bar, right? Because the lock bar is not near the pivot. So you put your thumb on the pivot, get the angle right, and flick it. And you should be fine. You shouldn't have any issues locking it up because you're off the lock bar, you're on the pivot. The other is, if depending on your hand size and the knife, is the clip. So you can ride the clip. Any knife worth its salt, if this is not the case, you don't want this knife. Any knife worth its salt does not have the clip land on the lock bar. If the clip lands on the lock bar, any pressure on the clip will lock it up. That is ridiculous. So if you have a knife that does that, that's a bad design. Just inherently bad design. So you can just ride the clip. That'll keep you off the lock bar. Flick it. Boom. Good to go. So you have the pivot move and you have the clip move. All right. The next one is the lean. Okay. So you kind of put your thumb on the side of the knife, right? So let's say the lock bar is right here. You're putting your thumb on the back side, the left half of the knife where the lock bar is not, right? And you kind of lean your pressure that way. Sometimes you can get away with it, even if your thumb is kind of on the lock bar, as long as you're putting the pressure to that left side off the lock bar. So then you're kind of off the lock bar and you can flick it like that. It really depends on the knife. There's some knives like the Evo 2.0 that has a nice long clip. I don't even realize it's a right-handed, has a frame lock. My thumb naturally lands right on that clip and I flick it, no problem. And there's other knives like that. There's also a lot of right-handed knives that the lock bar pressure thing doesn't matter, right? Like the OG Nimbles from LeftyEDC, my relative. I can just put my finger wherever I want and fire it and it's fine, right? So it's knife sensitive too. So sometimes you buy a knife thinking it's going to work and it doesn't. Sometimes you buy a knife thinking it won't work and it does, and you get excited. It's just how it goes, So I would say the left pocket thing to me is the most important thing. And then, disengaging it however you feel comfortable left-handed. But this move, knowing this move can really make your life easier as a lefty. I am perfectly fine doing this move. The only time it bothers me is when a knife has a really late detent. So if I go to disengage it and I don't pass that lock bar or that detent yet, and then I come back to shake it down and then I shake it up and it double clutches essentially, right? What else? I think that's it. That's just a couple of quick tricks in my opinion. For lefties, I know, some people have asked me how I carry knives since I'm left-handed. People have asked me how I operate them. You guys see me in videos doing it, but I wanted to make a video so that my new fellow lefties that are following, I think this is loose. It's not centered at all. Probably just loosened up. That, anybody new to the hobby or to the channel that's left-handed and is curious, why my channel name is LeftyEDC, but I don't just show lefties. It's because I love knives, and there's too many good designs that are right-hand only. There just really are. So I buy them and I've adapted and I'm fine with it. So maybe you can be too, or maybe you're a stickler and you will only do left-hand knives. That's perfectly fine. That'll save you a shit ton of money. And if you're in that boat right now, if you go to the Facebook group, there's a Facebook group for lefties. It's called EDC for Lefties. Great group. Awesome moderators or admins. Great people. Love it. Go check it out. I'll try to link it down below, but you can always just search on Facebook, EDC for Lefties. And they're doing a sale right now for a concept knife. It's the Fenrir, which is a Sparrow Knife Co. design in Lefty. So if you're interested in that, you can pick one up. You just go in the group, let them know, and they'll tell you how to pick one up. Concept does a lefty knife every year or so. So this one's actually a really cool one. They did the Pelican EDC last year, which is a good one. If you're looking for other lefty knives, there's some Trevor Berger Urbans out there in Lefty. If you're looking premium, I actually have one for sale right now. If you want one, hit me up. It's actually number 001. And then Vero. Bureau Engineering has the Synapse Lefty out there, and those are in stock, all versions, I think. And it's a great knife. I have 2 of them, and I love it. So, yeah, I love you guys. Oh, you can also check out Divo knives. I should mention my own knife brand. We do our knives in the right-handed locks, okay? And we do that because that's what, you know, we need to sell knives. We're trying to start a, you know, keep this business growing. We've been around for about a year, and we want to build the business. So we can't afford to just do lefties right now. We want to in the future, I think. But we make sure every knife is as lefty friendly as possible. They always have reversible clips. They're always a liner lock or a bolster lock or something that will not, you know, bind up when you're trying to flick it left-handed. They always function really well. You know, access to the lock bar, all that stuff. We make sure it works left-handed because I'm left-handed. So check out Divo knives. Right now we have the Pony Stout available at White Mountain Knives. If you're looking in the budget category, you can pick up the Pony Stout in black G10 and either stonewash or blackwash like this, blackwash. They're $75. Use my code LeftyEDC. It's $68 out the door, guys. I think it's a great deal. 14C, 28N, and G10. And then the Buzz, that's our more premium model. That one's available at Blade HQ, at least right now, in the black versions. We will have some available in all versions, so will White Mountain Knives, and Blade HQ will have some more in the uncoated versions later on. So, yeah, that's it. I love you guys. Thank you so much. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will catch you later.